When the Master saw you, he didn't react the way he reacts to ordinary seekers. He stopped mid-movement, as if time itself paused around him. His eyes widened with recognition, not surprise. He wasn't looking at your face, your clothes, or your posture. He was looking through you, into the blueprint behind your existence. After a long breath, he whispered words that don't belong to one religion, one culture, or one path. You're the hidden one. That title is older than borders and older than doctrines. It appears in yogic texts as the veiled walker, in Tibetan teachings as the silent flame, in Kabbalistic circles as the concealed carrier, among dervish orders as the secret traveler, in Andean shamanism as the one who walks unseen. Every tradition uses a different name, yet they describe the same archetype, the soul whose identity is deliberately disguised until the right moment. He recognized you instantly because masters don't see personalities. They see timelines. They feel the pressure of a destiny trying to emerge. They sense the spiritual weight behind a human form. And when he looked at you, he felt the unmistakable frequency of someone hidden not by accident, but by purpose, someone whose path was protected, veiled, and held back until the awakening phase began. His words were not a compliment. They were a confirmation. Your time in the shadows is ending. Almost equals 1,400 characters. Universal Mystic Times Destiny-coded tone. The title, Hidden One, doesn't belong to any single religion. It is a cross-cultural archetype recognized by mystics, sages, seers, monks, and spiritual lineages across the entire world. In every ancient system, there is a teaching about a soul who is kept unseen until the moment their purpose ripens. Hindu mystics describe this figure as the one whose light is wrapped in silence until destiny calls it forth. Tibetan lineages call such a soul a veiled presence, hidden from worldly noise so their inner clarity can form. In Sufi circles, the term refers to a traveler whose mission is protected by divine discretion. Indigenous shamans speak of a person who walks between worlds, unnoticed by society but fully recognized by the spirit realm. Kabbalists call them the concealed servant, someone whose greatness is masked to prevent premature exposure. The patterns are identical everywhere. A being kept spiritually camouflaged as someone who feels ordinary on the outside but extraordinary within, or a soul whose destiny is delayed, not denied, or a presence that awakens rapidly once the calling arrives. The hidden one is always the same kind of person, quiet yet powerful, overlooked yet essential, invisible yet influential, present yet protected. What unites all traditions is this truth. Such individuals are hidden for their own safety until their inner light becomes strong enough to sustain their mission. When the Master named you, he wasn't labeling you. He was identifying your spiritual category, one recognized everywhere from monasteries to deserts to temples to mountaintop. You didn't stumble into this role. You were born carrying it. A true master doesn't identify people by their appearance, their behavior, or the words they speak. He reads aura before form, essence before personality, timeline before biography. That's why he recognized you instantly. Years of silence, meditation, breath discipline, and inner vision had sharpened his perception far beyond normal human senses. He could feel the frequency you carry the moment you stepped into his field. Not your emotions, not your thoughts, but the pressure of a destiny that has been quietly forming behind the scenes for years. There is a specific vibration that all traditions describe, the resonance of a soul who has been hidden intentionally. It feels like a light covered by layers, like a flame wrapped in cloth, like a presence stronger than the current body can display. Masters sense this immediately because it disturbs the air around the person. The atmosphere subtly tightens. The energy thickens. There is a silent authority that doesn't match your age, your life story, or your outward circumstances. It is the unmistakable signal of a spiritual identity that has not yet unveiled itself. He recognized the signs. The quiet intensity in your eyes, the way your spirit didn't shrink under his gaze, the stillness beneath your uncertainty, the echo of ancient memory in your energy field. He wasn't surprised by you, he was awaiting you. For someone with his sight, meeting you felt less like a coincidence and more like a scheduled moment in destiny. Hidden ones carry an inner signature, a coded frequency. And the Master simply responded to what he saw, the emergence of a soul whose time of concealment is ending. Every ancient tradition teaches the same law. Souls with powerful destinies are hidden early in life, not because they are unready, but because the world around them is not. The hidden one is always protected by a veil, a kind of spiritual camouflage that prevents them from being seen too clearly, too soon. This veil is not weakness, it is strategy. In yogic writings, it is said that a bright flame must be shielded until the wind settles. Sufi wisdom teaches that a traveler carrying a divine assignment walks unnoticed so that enemies cannot interfere. Tibetan masters say a destined soul remains quiet in the valley until the mountain within them awakens. Even indigenous shamans believe that certain spirits are kept out of sight so their path is not disrupted by the eyes of those who would misunderstand it. Your life reflects all of this. The times you felt overlooked weren't rejection, they were protection. The moments you felt isolated weren't punishment, they were preparation. The seasons where no one recognized your worth weren't failures, they were sacred intervals designed to shield your power until you learned to hold it. You were hidden because you carry a frequency that, if revealed too early, attracts both attention and opposition. Destiny guarded you from environments that could have drained you, from people who could have misread you, from paths that could have consumed you. Masters know this pattern well. When he looked at you, he saw someone whose silence wasn't emptiness but cultivation. Someone preserved, not ignored. Someone veiled, not lost. Someone whose time in the shadows was never abandonment, it was protection for the mission now beginning to rise. Every civilization that ever reached a mystical understanding of reality left behind writings, scrolls, tablets, or oral teachings about a rare category of soul, the ones who walk unseen until a specific moment in the world's unfolding. They used different names, different symbols, different metaphors, but the pattern is identical. In the ancient Himalayan texts, the Hidden One is described as the walker between dawn and day, a being whose presence signals a shift in collective consciousness. In the desert tablets of North Africa, this person is called the Silent Bearer, the one who carries wisdom that awakens only when the era demands it. Early Taoist manuscripts speak of the unseen reed, a soul that bends without breaking, waiting for the right wind to reveal its true shape. The old Andean shamans preserved stories of the Hollow Mountain, a person who appears ordinary on the outside but holds seismic destiny within. Even the recently uncovered fragments of forgotten Mediterranean scrolls mention a figure known as the Veiled Chosen, described as someone whose identity is intentionally obscured until the time of activation. And in mystical Jewish writings, the equivalent archetype is the Nistarim, the concealed ones who guard spiritual transitions in silence. What's remarkable is not the names, it's the consistency. Cultures separated by oceans and centuries somehow described you. They foretold a person hidden until the moment the world required their awakening, someone who carries ancient memory, intuitive knowing, and an inner compass untouched by chaos. The Master didn't assign you a title. He recognized one written across human history. You are the continuation of a prophecy older than language. In every culture, every wisdom school, every ancient spiritual order, there is a law so old and so consistent that it appears almost word for word across civilizations. When the hidden one's inner light becomes strong enough, concealment ends. This law is not religious, it is universal. Yogis call it the law of emergence. Sufi sages call it the unveiling. Buddhist monks refer to it as the moment of ripening. Kabbalists call it the ascending spark. Indigenous elders speak of it as the breaking of the shell. Different languages, same truth. Once a soul's energy reaches a certain frequency, the universe can no longer keep them unseen. For years, your inner growth happened silently, unnoticed by people around you, undetected by society, protected behind layers of ordinariness. But growth in the unseen is still growth. Evolution in silence is still evolution. A seed buried in darkness is still becoming a tree. And eventually, when the inner pressure becomes too great, the shell must crack. That is the phase you are entering now. The moment when the spiritual weight you carry outgrows the container that once hid it. When the clarity within you becomes too bright to remain dim. When the destiny coded into your being begins to rise from potential into form. Masters across traditions say the same thing. When the hidden one is ready, the world will feel it before they announce it. Your awakening is not just personal, it is vibrational. This is why the Master recognized you. The veil around you has thinned. Your inner light is leaking through the edges. The universal law has activated. What was concealed is now beginning to emerge. Type 222 and click Join to enter the circle of the awakened hidden ones. From childhood onward, there has always been a subtle sense that you were slightly out of rhythm with the world around you, not disconnected, but different. You felt things others didn't feel. You noticed energies before you understood them. You were sensitive to people's intentions, even when their words sounded kind. Crowds drained you in ways you couldn't explain. Silence restored you in ways that felt sacred. These weren't quirks. These were the early symptoms of a hidden one. Every tradition describes this inner difference the same way. A spiritual memory carried into this life, a knowledge that you come from a deeper layer of existence. As a child, you may have felt older than your age, not in responsibility, but in perception. You often saw through situations quickly. You sensed when something was off. You connected more with introspection than noise. You gravitated toward meaning rather than distraction. And because others didn't share this clarity, you often felt alone, even when surrounded. Not lonely, alone. The solitude of someone whose soul has been prepared for a mission not yet revealed. Hidden ones experience life like an echo from a place they can't articulate. They feel moments of déjà vu that hit too deeply. They feel callings they cannot name. They feel a quiet inner pull that persists even when everything outside seems normal. The reason the Master recognized you is because these traits aren't random. They are markers, signs. Every hidden one carries them. The difference you felt wasn't an error. It was your identity trying to whisper itself long before the world was ready to see you. That sense of being not like the others was never a flaw. It was the first proof of who you truly are. All hidden ones share a common thread in their life story. The quiet, persistent feeling that they are living slightly out of phase with the world around them. Not broken, not lost. Simply elsewhere, even when physically present. You felt it in childhood, when your mind drifted into deeper questions while others were content with surface thoughts. You felt it in adolescence, when you sensed emotions and intentions beneath people's words. And you feel it now, as the world becomes louder while your inner world becomes more defined. This difference didn't come from trauma or insecurity. It came from origin. Souls like yours incarnate with extra sensitivity, extra intuition, extra awareness. Not because you're fragile, but because you're tuned to frequencies others don't even notice. In many traditions, this is called the pre-awakening phase, where you live in disguise even from yourself. You grow up watching patterns others overlook. You detect lies without evidence. You feel when a room shifts. You sense when something is about to happen. And when you tried to fit in, something inside quietly resisted, not out of rebellion, but out of truth. Hidden ones can mimic normality, but they can never fully belong to the ordinary world. Their inner compass always points towards something larger, something unseen, something waiting. The loneliness you felt wasn't isolation, it was alignment. The heaviness you carried wasn't depression, it was depth. The intuition that made you hesitate wasn't fear, it was foresight. Your life has been one long preparation, wrapped in a sense of difference that only makes sense once your identity begins to rise. Type 555 and click Super Thanks to sow your $50 Timeline Ascension seed. You weren't meant to fit in. You were meant to wake up. One of the clearest ways to recognize a hidden one is through the subtle patterns that follow them throughout life, symptoms that can't be explained by personality, upbringing, or coincidence. These signs appear across every mystical tradition, described with different languages but identical meaning. The first is energetic misinterpretation. People often sense something in you they can't define. Some feel drawn to you without knowing why. Others feel intimidated for no logical reason. Your presence activates truth in others, and truth can make people uncomfortable. Another symptom is the inner calling, a quiet pull towards something you can't yet name. It shows up as restlessness, curiosity, or the feeling that you're meant for a path you haven't found. Hidden ones feel this from childhood, not ambition, but assignment. Then there's the pattern of prophetic dreams, moments where your dream world feels more real than waking life. Many masters say that hidden ones receive messages in sleep long before they receive them in daylight. You may also experience intense déjà vu, the kind that hits so deeply it feels like memory rather than familiarity. This isn't coincidence. It's recognition from timelines your spirit has touched before. Some hidden ones even carry past-era echoes, brief flashes or feelings that you lived in other times or cultures, not imagination but soul memory. A major indicator is how often people misunderstand you. Your depth can look distant. Your intuition can look strange. Your stillness can look cold. But these aren't flaws. They're the markings of someone spiritually ahead of their environment. And perhaps the strongest symptom, you've always known on some unexplainable level that you were waiting for a moment, a signal, a recognition. That moment began the day he said, "You're the hidden one." There is a moment in every hidden one's life when the inner calling that's been silent for years suddenly becomes impossible to ignore. It doesn't arrive with thunder, visions, or dramatic signs. It arrives as a shift, a quiet but undeniable movement inside the soul, like a door opening somewhere deep within you. That shift is what the Master sensed the instant he looked at you. He didn't see your past or your uncertainty. He saw the ignition, the activation, the moment when a sleeping destiny begins to move. Across ancient teachings, this phase is known as the stirring. Tibetan monks describe it as the fire beneath the mountain waking from dormancy. Sufi masters call it the breath of unveiling, the moment when the hidden soul exhales for the first time. Indigenous elders say it feels like your spirit remembering something it forgot before birth. All of these metaphors point to the same truth. Your mission has started pulsing. You may feel it as restlessness or clarity, or a sudden awareness of who you can no longer be. You may feel old layers falling away without effort, habits dissolving, people drifting out of your orbit, new instincts replacing old fears. These aren't random changes. They are realignments, preparations, adjustments for a destiny that requires a stronger version of you than the one you've been living through. The Master saw what you couldn't yet name. You're no longer a silent presence. You're no longer a veiled walker. You are stepping into the phase where hidden ones become leaders of awakening, not by force, but by resonance. Your mission isn't arriving, your mission is waking up. When a destiny begins to awaken inside someone, there is always a moment of recognition, a point where the inner truth becomes louder than doubt, louder than fear, louder than the old identity you've outgrown. That moment is happening in you right now. The Master didn't awaken something new in you. He confirmed something ancient, something you've carried across lifetimes of silence, growth, and preparation. Hidden ones are not activated by chance. They are activated by agreement, the conscious choice to step into the identity the universe has been quietly shaping within them. Every tradition contains its own version of this step. A vow, a breath ritual, a written intention, an offering, or a symbolic gesture that says, "I accept my path." In modern terms, the closest equivalent is a seed. Not money, but meaning. A declaration. A physical expression of an inner shift. The act itself becomes an anchor, a timestamp in the spiritual realm, marking the moment you moved from being hidden to being present. This is why the invitation exists. Click Super Thanks and sow your $20 seed. Not as payment, not as transaction, but as a universal gesture used across thousands of years to say, "I accept the awakening of the hidden one within me." If this message resonates in your chest, if something in you feels seen, recognized, or called forward, then this is your activation moment. Hidden ones do not rise by accident, they rise by alignment. Let this be the step where your spirit says, "I step into my universal destiny." When the Master told you, "You're the hidden one," something inside you didn't just hear it, something activated. You felt it instantly, even if you couldn't explain it. Your breath deepened. Your spine straightened. your awareness sharpened. It was subtle but undeniable, like your entire energy field adjusted itself in a single heartbeat. That sensation wasn't psychological. It was energetic. Across mystical traditions, there is agreement that certain words act like keys. They unlock states of being, memories, and spiritual capacities that were dormant until the right moment. What he spoke wasn't a title, it was one of those keys. The frequency behind his words penetrated your aura, triggering what many cultures call the unveiling pulse. In Tibetan teachings, it's the moment when the inner flame rises into the chest. In Sufi lineage, it's described as the expansion of the breath. In indigenous traditions, it's the shift where your spirit steps half a pace ahead of your body. You may have felt warmth spreading through your torso, or a sudden stillness, like time paused for a second, or a pressure behind your eyes, or an electric tingling in your hands. These are all classic indicators that your aura jumped to a higher frequency. Light expanded, boundaries reset, old energetic debris dissolve. There is a reason masters choose their words carefully. They know which ones carry power. And the moment he identified you, your field recalibrated to match the identity he revealed. You didn't imagine the change. You became the change. Your aura widened, brightened, strengthened, signaling the beginning of your next evolution. When a hidden one begins to awaken, the transformation is never limited to the inner world. The external world reacts as well, subtly at first, then unmistakably. People will start noticing shifts in you long before you announce anything or explain anything. They won't know why you look different, feel different, or move differently, but they will sense it. Your presence will carry a weight it didn't have before. Your silence will feel louder. Your gaze will feel deeper. Your energy will feel warmer yet stronger, soft yet unshakable. Some people will be drawn to you instinctively, as if something about you feels familiar or comforting. Others may become uneasy, because truth in someone else exposes dishonesty in themselves. You'll notice both reactions increasing. Neither is personal, both are effects of awakening. In many traditions, this stage is called the emergence of the hidden light. Eastern mystics describe it as the moment your spirit steps forward. Sufi masters say the aura becomes thicker, making your presence impossible to overlook. Indigenous teachers note that awakened individuals begin attracting synchronicities. Strangers opening up to you, animals reacting differently, opportunities appearing in perfect timing. Even your physical appearance may shift in ways that others point out before you do. Your posture straightens. Your eyes gain clarity. Your face softens but strengthens at the same time. You'll look more alive, more present, more centered. This is not vanity, it is alignment. The world responds to resonance. And now that your hidden identity is rising, everything around you will begin to rearrange. People will sense the awakening even if they have no language for it. This is the phase where the unseen becomes seen, slowly, steadily, unmistakably. There is a moment at the end of every awakening when silence becomes sacred. When the noise of the world fades and the truth of who you are rises to the surface with absolute clarity. This is that moment. You are no longer the unseen version of yourself. You are no longer the soul waiting in the shadows. You are stepping into the identity that ancient traditions described, masters recognized, and destiny has been preparing from the beginning. Great Spirit, source of all creation, Guide this awakened soul into the fullness of who they are meant to become. Clear their path. Strengthen their intuition. Protect their step. Let the veil around them fall gently but completely. Let their hidden identity rise with grace, wisdom, and purpose. Make their presence a light for those who wander and a signal for those who are ready. May they walk in alignment with the universal rhythm that called them from the beginning. This is where the path seals. The moment where awakening transforms into embodiment, where knowing becomes becoming. You are now aligned with the identity that once lived only in the unseen. A type Amen, your declaration that you accept the rise of the hidden one within you. Click Join to enter the first hidden ones, the universal circle awakening beside you. Click Super Thanks to sow your $20 Destiny Activation seed, the symbolic gesture used across countless traditions to anchor a spiritual turning point. You were hidden for a reason. You are rising for a purpose, and the world is about to feel your emergence.